Welcome in to Extreme Talk, presented by Complete Real Estate, where experience and integrity matters. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Got a great show lined up. At 3:20, we will bring in Coach Tim Bolden. He is up at the KC East Lions up in Kansas City, Missouri. They just kicked off their season this past Friday, so we'll talk to him. And then at 3:45, Coach Trevor Reed from Harvester Christian down in Georgia. They are on a roll, and so we'll talk to him a little bit later in the show. But thank you so much for tuning in, and a big thank you to Sutton Pools, LLC, for sponsoring all the interviews with coaches this season or people around the game of eight-man football. Big shout-out to them. Again, another big shout-out to Complete Real Estate, and a big shout-out to Fairlife Core Power. Always a pleasure to team up with them and be able to recognize athletes every week. I want to give a big congratulations to the offensive and defensive players of the week this past week. For Friday, I think it was the 23rd was when those games were played. Lance Johnson from Delta Academy and Garrison Vaughn from Lawrence Academy. Garrison was the defensive, Lance was the offensive. So congratulations to those young men. Their Core Power drinks are headed to them, as well as a T-shirt. And big thank you to Fairlife Core Power for teaming up with us, helping us recognize these athletes and, just kind of give them a little something to recognize their effort. I also have I have a very controversial take, and this is probably one of the most this is something I feel very strongly about. It just happened maybe 30 minutes ago, and I might lose a potential sponsorship. Potential. But you know what? Somebody deserves to be fired over this, okay? I don't know who, or multiple people. I don't know who signed off on this. It is completely insane to first off do this and then just completely fail on the execution. But listen, I grew up here in the South. During the summer, it's hot. Maybe you need a pool. Maybe you're sitting in your pool. Sutton Pools LLC can hook you up. There you go. Maybe it's hot. Maybe you're sitting in the pool. You want a snack. What's kind of the go-to? Or you're out mowing, or you're just hanging out. What's the go-to? Beef jerky. Everybody loves beef jerky. I love beef jerky. Obviously, I'm a fat guy, but I love beef jerky. Jack Link. Who decided that doing a Dr. Pepper beef stick was a good idea? And I'll take some of the blame. I bought it. Curious. Why not? Why not try it? Maybe give it a shot. Somebody thought it was a great enough idea to sign off on making it. Let's give it a shot. Complete and utter failure, a disgrace, a black mark on the history of Jack Link, whatever it's called. So listen, guys, Jack Link, you gotta figure this out. This is just insanity, and I will go ahead and pre-warn you. If you tried it, I'm sorry. I wish there was a way for you to get your money back. I'm sure there is, with some emails and everything. But if you haven't tried it, don't waste your time and money. And regular Jack Link is great, but don't waste your time and money. But I'm sorry, it's just a completely dumb thing to do. Okay, so there's my hot take for the day, my rant, if you will. Just absolute insanity to do that. And again, I take responsibility for having bought it and consumed it. I didn't even finish the whole thing, but got a couple bites in. I was like, this is awful. This might be one of the worst things I've put in my mouth, and I've eaten a lot. Okay, all right. Pretty eventful this last weekend across eight-man football across the South. I mean, I guess if you add, I would say Virginia's the South, and then Missouri. I mean, they're in the SEC. Debatable whether they're the South, but a lot has happened over the world of eight-man football this last weekend. Let's roll through it real quick. By the way, I'm not picking favorites when I go through these. I just have these set up. I'm not smart. I'm not bright. And so in Max Preps, there's a tab for scores, and you can go through and add scoreboards. And so I just started the first state that I could think of, and it was Alabama. And so that's why I usually kick off with Alabama scores, typically. Well, let's roll through this real quick. Let's start in the ACSC. You had Lighthouse Warriors taking on Springwood. This rivalry's been going on for a couple of years now. Always great games, but Lighthouse, a little bit of a rebuilding year. Springwood kind of finding its groove. And the Wildcats come away with a 58-28 win. Freedom Cowboys, they were hosting Ezekiel Academy. Another great rivalry game. Freedom, 48-20 win over the Knights, who are coming off that comeback win against Evangel Montgomery 2 weeks ago, technically. Evangel Christian playing an 11-man game, another 11-man game, taking on Banks Academy, who had played for one of the AISA championships last season. Got the chance to play it at Legion Field there in Birmingham. Really cool experience for all the young men. Didn't start out quite Evangel's way. They started a comeback, fell just a little bit short. Banks Academy 23-20 over Evangel Christian. Let's go to the AISA. Had a game on Thursday in the AISA. It was Evangel Christian Montgomery and Meadowview Christian. Lions, after giving up the win to the Knights a couple weeks ago, they meet up with Meadowview Christian, get the 54-14 win. And so Lions get in the win column. Southern Prep, same thing for them, taking on Coosa Valley, their first year in 8-man. And Southern Prep 40-6 over Coosa Valley. Cornerstone Christian, they were on the road in Tuscaloosa to take on North River Christian, 72-0. Chargers moved to 2-0 on the season. And then a couple teams that are brand new to 8-man, Macon East Montgomery, Macon East Academy, and Lakeside School. Both of those jumped to the 8-man division to kind of take over other teams' schedules. But Macon East, 36-0 win over Lakeside School. So congratulations to Macon East. I'm going to look up their mascot real quick. Have a squirrel moment. Let's see, Macon East. Let's see. Got to figure out how to type it into Max Prep so it'll take it. They are the Knights. So congratulations to the Macon East Academy Knights on the win this past Friday night. Let's go to the CFA. Jacksonville Christian kicked off the season with the loss to Southern Christian, won last week against Tuscaloosa. And they picked up another win this week against Tabernacle, 43-22. Thunder moved to 2-1. Tuscaloosa Christian, speaking of which, they were on the road again to take on Trinity Christian, 70-24. Warriors get the win there, and then Russell Christian welcomed Clay County Christian to 8-man there in the CFA, and the Warriors big 39-0 win against Clay County. So Warriors from Russell Christian, they move to 2-0 on the season. Let's go to the SEEC. A little bit of a lighter schedule on Thursday. Tri-Cities Christian and Chattanooga Patriots, little East Tennessee matchup. And Eagles, 44-21 win over the Patriots. On Friday, we talked about Freedom Ezekiel. A couple divisional matchups there in Seek. Tennessee Heat, 42-0 win over Zion Christian. Heat bouncing back from that game against Ensworth last week. And then a big matchup that everyone was kind of anticipating, South Haven Christian, Tennessee Tigers, big Central Division matchup. Patriots at home, 62-42 over the Tigers. They move above 500 for the season. Let's go to South Carolina. Let's go to Skeesa. Barn Burner down in, this one was in Georgia. Georgia School for Innovation in the Classics. We talked to Coach Marshall earlier this season. And they hosted JDA, Jefferson Davis Academy, but the Raiders, 28-26 win over the Patriots. Kings Academy, 58-6 over Cross. Kings now moves to 2-0. Cathedral Academy moves to 3-0 there in Skeesa with a 35-14 win over the Coastal Hurricanes. Holly Hill Academy, talked to Coach Palmer, I think it was last week if I'm not mistaken, 62-16 win over Conway Christian. They moved to 2-0. Wardlaw Academy, 32-20 win over Lawrence Academy. Big win there. New Bern, let's see. New Bern and Wynn, I think Wynn won it 46-6 from what I was told. King Academy, 22-12 win over Oak Brook Prep. And so King Academy gets to 500 on the year. Bounce back win for them. Let's go to the SIFA. Pack Panthers playing their second 11-man game week in a row, 11-man game, 50-0 win over Camden Military Academy. So Pack 4-0 on the year, 2-0, 8-man, 2-0 in 11-man. Augusta Eagles took on Orangeburg Christian, 54-8 win for the Eagles, and they get into the win column this season. Harvester Christian, we'll talk to Coach Reed here later on in the show. They hosted the Carolina Wildcats, and Wildcats on the road in Georgia. Harvester, though, 42-14 win. They moved to 2-0 on the season. And then Harvest Christian took on Victory. And let me see if I can find that score real quick. I feel like I saw it somewhere. Harvest, 66-34 win over Victory. So Harvest gets in the win column. Congratulations to the Hawks. Let's go to North Carolina. Let's talk a little North Carolina 8-man. On Thursday, had a couple games being played. Rocky Mount Academy taking on Berean Baptist. Rocky Mount at 0-2. They get their first win of the year, 58-0 win over Berean Baptist. Arendelle Parrott, 58-49 win over Halifax Academy. So Patriots 2-game win streak after kicking off the season up in Gatlinburg. And then a couple games didn't get scores reported, might not have been played. Faith Christian, Liberty Christian, and then Lee Christian and Sandhills Classical Christian. But Community Christian, they're in Wilson, 52-50 win over Northeast Academy. Just an absolute great game. Let me see if there's a box score. No, they did not put a box score, and there's no stats up yet. Another good, close game there, North Carolina. They got some good ones happening. St. David's Raleigh taking on Lawrence Academy. 26-20, St. David's with the win. They move to 2-0 on the season, so congratulations to them. Let's go to the Heartland Conference on Arkansas and Kansas. We'll start on Thursday. Life Christian hosted Oklahoma School for the Deaf, and the Bison 38-18 win over Life Christian. On Friday, Southwest Christian on the road at Subiaco Academy, and Subiaco 34-14 winners over the Lions from Southwest. So they moved to 2-0 in the season, and then a couple teams kicking off their season. Manhattan Eagles, Sunrise Christian. Manhattan 52-17 win over Sunrise. Arkansas Christian yesterday on the road at Trinity Christian. Arkansas Christian 36-12 win. Puts them in the win column. Trinity Christian, after winning 2 weeks ago, they dropped to 500 overall on the season so far. Let's go to Mississippi. Let's talk a little Mississippi 8-man. We had a game on Thursday. Victory Christian out of the CFA. They hosted Faith Christian Homeschool, and the Eagles 30-0 winners there. Hey, Victory Christian's 2-0 on the year. They had their opponents, but they're 2-0 on the year, so congratulations to them. No score for Magnolia Wildcats, Unity Christian. And then on yesterday, did they play 2 games? There's no way. I guess there is a way. Faith Christian Homeschool on the road. Oh, I bet. No, that doesn't make sense. Well, it's got Faith Christian Homeschool on the road at New Orleans Homeschool Saints. Faith Christian 56-6 winners over the Saints, 56-6. If this stands, they played 2 games in 3 days and went 1-1. If anyone out there is listening and you know about this, shoot a DM or something. Shoot an email. Let's figure out what's going on here. All right. Because that's impressive if that's the case. Let's go to the MAIS down in Mississippi. Kemper Academy 18-0 winner over Marvell. Riverdale Academy 54-20 winner over Union Christian. Riverdale moves to 1-1. Kemper moves to 1-1 as well. Prairie View Academy, they are 3-0 on the year after a 35-18 win over Briarfield Academy. Calhoun Academy gets to 500 with a 46-40 win over Columbus Christian. Claiborne Academy, 56-14 winners over Hillcrest Christian. Bensford Christian, 58-40 win over Wilkinson County Christian. Big matchup there. Hebron Christian on the road in Louisiana, 68-6 winners. Hebron moves to 500 on the season. We talked to Coach Nate Carr a couple weeks ago. River Oaks 60-14 winners over Tensas Academy, and then no score reported for Tallulah and Franklin Academies. Let's go to MAIS 2A real quick. Let's see. Talked about Prairie View. Delta Academy. They just had Lance Johnson win Player of the Week. They get the 30-6 win over North Sunflower Academy. Let's see. Any others we didn't talk about? Prentice Christian, Porter's Chapel. There's no score. Lee Academy and Tunica Academy, no score reported. Park Place Christian, 50-0 winners over Discovery Christian. So Park Place gets to 500 on the season. And then Newton County Academy, this is their second win in a row, 36-18 over Delta Streets Academy. So congratulations to them. Let's go to Louisiana. Let's see if we have some scores turned in. I hadn't seen any. Okay, so Thursday had a game between North Shore Vultures hosting Mount Olive Christian. And Mount Olive Christian goes to 0-4 on the year with a 48-8 loss to the North Shore Vultures. And then on Friday, game scheduled between First Baptist Christian and JPG. No score reported there. So I'll try to figure out the score for that one. Mason-Dixon Conference had a game this past weekend, Thursday night. Tennessee School for the Deaf hosting South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind. And the Vikings, 46-12 winners over the Hornets. So the Vikings get to 500 on the season. Congratulations to them. Let's jump up to Virginia. Had a couple games on Thursday. Brunswick Academy, we talked to their coach last Sunday, took on the Covenant School. Powerhouse in the other division, Brunswick powerhouse in their division, but Covenant 44-13 win over Brunswick, and both of those teams move and drop to 500 on the season. Southampton Academy 44-12 over Rappahannock County. Southampton getting their first win of the year. Kinston Forest 28-12 win over Chincoteague. Ha, got it, nailed it, boom, Chincoteague. Originally, I was putting the wrong emphasis on. I was putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable, and so I finally figured it out there. On Friday, Fuqua 46-30 winners over Quantico. Virginia Episcopal School 28-8 win over Blessed Sacrament Huguenot. 28-8. So VES 1-0 on the season. Fuqua also 1-0 on the season. And then Greenbrier Christian, they're 2-0 with a 51-0 win over Broadwater Academy. Let's see who we're missing here. Let's go Florida real quick. Let's run through Florida scores. Had one game on Thursday. It was Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. 32-6 win over Cornerstone Academy. So the Dragons, if I'm not mistaken, is Florida School for the Deaf and Blind's mascot. They moved to 1-0. And then on Friday, there's a lot of scores. I'm going to run through these real quick. Canterbury 21-6 over Hernando Christian. Foundation Christian 52-18 over Babcock. Lake Mary Prep 43-42 win over Geneva. Both of those teams sitting at 2-1 now, and we do have some stats turned in, so I'm going to have to take a look at those stats. Real Life Christian 60-0 win over Liberty Christian Prep. Four Corners 34-22 win over City of Life Christian. Merritt Island Christian moving to 3-0 on the season, 30-10 win over Masters Academy. Countryside Christian 54-13 win over Riverside Christian. They move to 1-1 on the season. Ocala Christian 2-0 on the season, 52-18 win over First Coast Christian. Sports Leadership and Management Academy 20-14 win over All Saints Academy. That was a good one there. Shorecrest Prep 56-0 win over Lakeside Christian. Donahue Catholic 64-0 win over Oasis. And Geneva Classical moves to 3-0 on the season with a 40-30 win over the Classical Academy of Sarasota. Let's go to the Kansas Christian. A couple games happening there. Manhattan Eagles, they were on the road to take on Sunrise Christian. I talked about that one earlier. 52-17 win for the Eagles. And then KC East kicks off the season with a win over Cornerstone Family, 32-30. So the Lions 1-0 on the season, and that actually brings me to get our first guest on the line right now. course, all these interviews brought to you by Sutton Pools LLC. Joining me
Hey,
now,
James.
is the head coach of the KC East Lions, the 1-0 Lions, Coach Tim Bolton. Thank you so much for jumping on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, Coach, definitely the way that you want to kick off a season, Friday night. Um, the guys have got to be excited about picking up that win, especially with the way that last season ended.
Absolutely. And I can say that this year we do have a fresh crop of young kids, and CFS really brought their A game. I mean, they always do, but I mean, this game last Friday night was really a special game. And I mean, they really handed it to us pretty good, but we wound up coming back from behind there at the end and was able to come out with a victory. So we were pretty happy with that. I know the boys are very happy with it also. And yeah, that's a good start to the season, most definitely.
Now, for those not familiar with the KC East Lions, or maybe yourself and your coaching career, let's back up just a little bit and let's get everybody up to speed on what on a little bit of a history lesson.
Okay. So I've been with the KC Lions since 2016. That was when my son first started playing with us. And KC Lions is a homeschool Christian organization. And what we do is we provide basically sporting opportunity for homeschoolers in the area here in the KC metro area. So we encompass both the Kansas and the Missouri side. And it's just a bunch of families who have their kids in homeschool programs. And so what we do is we cater to those families and also to those specific areas, whether it be private academies, schools, and those kind of things that don't have an opportunity for them to play football or any kind of sports. And so that's where the KC Lions picks up, is that we provide them that opportunity to play varsity level sports, junior high and varsity level sports throughout the spectrum. And they compete against some of the public school kids around the area and also other Christian academies. We played teams as far out west as Wichita and Manhattan, for us. And as far east, we dabble into the Missouri side of things also.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, we definitely play a whole gambit of people, around the area on both Kansas and Missouri, side.
I want to back up just a little bit because when you look at last season, and obviously we don't want to look in the rearview mirror, but when you look at last season, and I talked a little bit about how the season ended, that 64-63 loss, just a
Mm-hmm.
barn burner of a game. But for the guys that were coming back this year, how did you and your coaching staff approach a loss like that, where it's close, it's playoffs, you lose, and it's it. All of a sudden, your season's just done. How did you guys approach that?
Well, I mean, again, these guys are very versatile and they're fast to recover from those kind of things. And so we chalked last season up as last season, and this year we're moving forward to try to duplicate that and push past it. And so, yeah, last year was a bummer. I mean, with a 1 point loss, but I mean, we were trying to do the best we can, could to try to rally back there at the end. But just the time is always a factor when it comes to games, and we ran out of time. But it's always a tough loss. I'd rather lose by 20 or 30 sometimes instead of by one.
Exactly.
And but I mean, it was a great game against Wichita, and they definitely brought their A game on that one. And again, I mean, these kids that we have now, a fresh crop, they're going to do great things, and hopefully we can be able to get back to the playoffs there again and get past that to go to the championship this season. That's kind of what we're hoping for.
That's kind of the perfect lead into my next question, because I wanted to ask you, last season you had your fair share of close losses and close wins. Like, y'all beat Maranatha 56-50, but then you had Life Prep right before the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
70-66. So, I mean, one score games either way. Whether you win a game close or lose a game close, um, how do I put this? When you're talking to the guys afterwards, or maybe the next week, kind of getting ready for the next game, does it change anything as opposed to if you guys win via a blowout or lose via a blowout?
I don't think it does, because as long as the kids execute and they give me their 100%, I mean, that's all we care about. And whether we blow out the win or whether we lose by a few or whatever the case may be, I mean, as long as the kids are giving me their best effort, that's all I ever ask for from these boys. And like I said, you have some days where you're able to do, great and wonderful things on the field, and there's other days where you don't. And those are the things that we as coaches have to kind of regroup and capitalize on the things that was the positive and work on the negative things. And so it's always a learning experience with different teams you play. And some years they're great and other years they're not. And that's the same even for us. And so, again, these boys are resilient. We teach them that, to be resilient and just shake off the game and just keep pressing forward to the next one. So that's just really what I know that these boys are able to do mentally. And I'm just hoping for things to be a good year is what we're looking for.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, I ask every coach this, and I want to give you the opportunity. Who were some of the guys that, and maybe it was just guys that stepped up Friday night, but who are some of the guys coming back from last year or going through off-season workouts that maybe you're excited to see what they bring, or guys that we need to keep an eye on?
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you now that the first playmaker that we had, of course, was Jeremiah Nichols. We have him as quarterback and also receiver, and he did one heck of a night, throwing for one touchdown as a quarterback and also as a receiver. He caught 3, had about 288 yards that he racked up on those receiving yards. And so he's a good factor that we have today. Also coming back as a senior is Carson King.
80 rushing yards too, by the way.
Yeah, 80 rushing yards also. But also we have Carson King, who plays mostly on the line, but we've transitioned him into doing some wide receiver task for us. And he had a couple of catches that were good, for some good yardage also Friday night. And we have some great blockers who came back also with seniors, Ezekiel Weeboat and also Sam Webster. Those two were very instrumental throughout the years. Sam had some issues last year with some knee issues and was out for half the season. But this year he's coming back stronger and ready to go. And we also have another guy who took off about a year or so because he was having some health issues, Gideon Barnes, but we're going to try to get him back out on the field this year. And also we have another guy, Sam Bailey. He's one of our most versatile kids that we have that we transition to linebacker, sometimes defensive back position. He runs the 2 and the 3 position on offense on occasions and some receiver stuff. So he's a really versatile kid, but we're going to have him back healthy hopefully by next game. He's been having some issues with his elbows and shoulders and stuff. So those kids they're the driving force of who we have when it comes to motivating, leading, and just being all-around great seniors. We got some great young leaders also stepping up. We got a kid named Mason Beckenhauer, who's number 6 on a roster, and he's one of the greatest captains that we have to help motivate and to lead. And also, we have another kid named Kyler Blessing.
You've got to have those
leaders.
You got to have those guys on the team, those vocal guys.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys are vocal. They're able to motivate. They're able to get people in position where to where they need to, and really surprises me how these guys are soft. Some of these young guys are sophomore, junior levels, and they're just already phenomenal leaders and trying to get their teams rallied up. So I'm really proud of those guys.
Hey, you guys have a really cool mixture of conference games, but then also, for those that don't know, 8-man is huge in Missouri. Shout out to Missouri 8-man football, Anthony Crane, and all those guys that cover it. I know I'm forgetting the other guy's name, and I hate myself for that. Devin Albertson. Shout out to those guys for covering it. But you guys have a cool mixture of conference games and then also some of the public schools and like a Bishop LeBlond. So getting to see a little bit different type the Missouri public schools and the schools in that conference. Do they bring a little bit different style of a game than maybe the guys that you guys play on a regular basis in conference, or how does that work? And then are you guys able to use those kinds of games as like a measuring stick as to where you're at, or does that even matter?
Well, I can say that the actual level of the play and everything is probably the same all around. The only thing that's different, I think, for me, has to do with availability of the talent that they have, and also the style of play. And so some of the bigger schools that we do play, I mean, again, it's like any other traditional public school format where you have 1A all the way up to 6A or 7A and those kind of things. And it's the same concept sometimes in 8-man too, because we're not necessarily, ranked by those when it comes to us doing those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, there's times where we play small Christian academy schools or public schools, like us, with a hodgepodge of kids. And then we have other powerhouse teams who were just phenomenal public schools. I mean, even on the Missouri side, when we were playing Drexel and Archie and Red Hill and those teams, I mean, those are top-notch teams. I mean, we had Drexel in our jamboree still, and we're going to play them, on a junior varsity schedule this year.
Yeah.
But they're always teams that we've tried to, kind of be up to that same level as they are when it comes to their level of talent and stuff. And so, it has to do with, the hodgepodge of kids. But those kids on the Southern Missouri side, I mean, those are some, good Alabama kids that are cornbread fed. And, and they lift the weights and everything, So those are the kind of kids that we want to try to get our homeschoolers to be involved more in that when it comes to growth and those kind of things. And so it starts young. We have a great crop of junior high kids this year, like we've had in the past. And as that sustains us throughout the year, they're getting bigger, they're getting faster, they're getting stronger, they're getting somewhat smarter in the ability to play football. And that's kind of what we need, because not having that close-knit community like a public school system does. I mean, these kids, again, they're from different co-ops, they're from different households and stuff, and trying to get them all together to try to be a team, try to be cohesive.
Different states,
that's
Coach.
a challenge. Yeah, different states. I mean, that's a challenge. And so when you have a bunch of kids who are from different, ways of life and that, and trying to form them together, and they don't get to see, each other that often during the off season, they're still involved with other sports, with the KC Lions, like track and those, and basketball and those kind of things. But that's always a challenge when you have kids who are not, cohesively together like a public school setting, who go to school together every day, who see each other every day, and train and grow up together. That's the challenge that we have.
I wanted to get you to talk about your conference a little bit. By the way, for those that don't know, if Coach Breck, he referenced Alabama a little bit. And if he sounds like he's not from Missouri, for you folks that kind of know what that sounds like, if he sounds like he's not, he's not. He's from Alabama. So just to clear that up a little bit, just in case folks don't know.
Absolutely. So that's where I was growing up and raised, and people look, because again, I'm Korean. I was adopted into Alabama.
Yeah.
And so I'm a Korean guy with a Southern voice, and I can say that, I'll tell you, James, the biggest thing was that I didn't know that I had a Southern accent until I joined the military. I really didn't. Nobody in Alabama warned me and told me about it, but when I joined the military and went to basic training, I mean, it was the oddity of things, and that started the years of always being asked that question of where you're from, And even in the Midwest, once I retired out of the military and my family and I transplanted here, it was the same thing. And so, I think that's the biggest oddity that I do have, is people like to always kid about that. And even when we go to Gatlinburg with you guys there, I know your head was probably flipping around too a couple of times when you and I met the first time, and you spoke with me and stuff. So
you do a double take a little bit, and you're like,
absolutely.
wait a minute. I want to get you to talk about the conference that you guys play in, and you guys have some strong teams, the Wichita Warriors, Manhattan Eagles. Guys that are just there. And I don't want to leave out Cornerstone Family and Life Prep, but some really strong level of competition that you guys have there. And then obviously, like you said, you can go play other conferences. You guys have dipped toes in, with the I can't think of it now. The Heartland Christian Conference. You guys have kind of interacted with them a little bit, but you guys have some really strong levels of competition up there, not just in your own conference, but conferences that you can interact with. And you answered a little bit earlier talking about playing Plattsburgh and Bishop LeBlond. But talk about the being able to play those level of teams too, and not just the aspect of they're together, but the fact that like in Manhattan and I'm spacing. Manhattan and who was that played last year? Wichita.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They played for the title last year. Getting to play, having a conference with that level of competition in it, it's got to only make you guys better, and then giving your guys something to look at as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The word of the Lord says iron sharpeneth iron, and that's what we want. Is we want to be able to compete against top level teams and try to see how we rack and stack and match up against those guys. And the conferences that there's been a shift in conference this year for us. The whole Kansas KASC that we were in, it's kind of disbanded a little bit this year, and
Right,
so
right.
now I think we're going to join a new conference called MAC, which is a Midwestern Athletic Christian conference that was created this year,
Okay,
and so
okay.
that was started up by CFS and also Faith Academy. Faith Academy is a new team, but it's still got old players that's from Wichita, and so they split off of Wichita and formed a new co-op school from them. And so those two have formed this new conference that I think we are going to be a part of, and also Manhattan is questioning to be a part of also, and also Life Prep and a few other schools I know that they've got in contact with. And so I think we're transitioning from the whole KSC into this MAC conference, and that is what we're going to be in for this season. And so this is going to be a brand new conference for us, but still it's got the same players. I mean, the teams are pretty much the same. They are going to try to pick up a couple more teams from south in Oklahoma, and also I think some other teams that are probably south of Missouri and upper Kansas area. And so
I
it's
was
going to
about to
be,
I was about to ask about Sunrise Christian.
yeah, Sunrise Christian. Uh, I don't think that they're participating in the league, but we do have them on our schedule, to play this year.
For sure,
I
yeah.
think they're still out of the Heartland Conference that's out there more closer to the Oklahoma side,
Gotcha,
to where they're
gotcha.
from. And so they were a part of KSC for a spell, but then they became part of that Heartland Conference. And ultimately, what we want to try to do, I think, is what they're visioning for this MAC thing. I guess, from my understanding, is that they want to try to encompass a good majority of, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma side of teams, and so that's why it's a Midwestern versus it being specifically Kansas or Missouri thing. So
Well, that travel's wild, Coach. That
yeah,
travel's going to
it,
be
it should
something else.
It should be, but I think they're going to try to maybe regionalize into different divisions.
Gotcha,
I think that would
gotcha.
help out a lot if that happens, and then have it to where those separate divisions would play for the championship. So I think that's probably the ultimate end goal from my understanding with talking with them. And so they are going to somehow break it up into different divisional, like regional areas there. So therefore, it minimizes a lot of the travel and stuff. So
Yeah, no
that'd be
doubt.
good for most of the guys. Yeah, because these three states are huge, and so trying to get here and there. I mean, we're talking about, even for us. I mean, we got 4 away games this year, and they're all 2 hours plus away. Being Wichita, and we pulled in Blue Valley Randolph, which is northwest of Manhattan, and we got Manhattan also on our schedule. We got Life Prep, and
I mean,
so yeah,
sometimes the closest Walmart's 3 hours away, Coach. I mean, it
yeah,
happens.
exactly. Yeah, it happens that way. And there was some Missouri teams we got on our schedule that we had to drop because they were just so far out. I mean, like Scholar. I mean, they were, they were so far out there, like literally on the corner of Missouri and Iowa up there on the
Oh yeah,
border,
oh
and
yeah.
they were far away. We dropped Keatsville because they were kind of far, and so we're trying to get some more closer teams, to us. That because I mean, again, there's a big hodgepodge of 8-man teams around here that we need to try to get into,
Well,
and even if those are non-district games for us, we want to try to get them on our schedule.
and then you have the whole added aspect of that much travel and trying to manage your guys and uh, you know, come into the game and not be completely stiff and sore and kind of keep that going. Um,
Absolutely.
Speaking of those teams that you want to play, it's perfect transition again. Obviously, we got to get through this season, but when you look at next season, you're putting your schedule together. Is there anybody you look at and go, I want to play these guys?
Well, we want to definitely try to get some more of those Missouri side teams back on our schedule, because back in the 2017, 18, 19, we had those big heavy hitters on the Missouri side who were always competitive for the championships, like Archie, Drexel, those guys. So we want to try to get those guys back on our schedule eventually. Um, I think that we're pretty much as competitive as what they are. We just need to just try to get that worked out. And so on the Missouri side, there's a Missouri 8-man coaches association that we kind of join and are a part of, and so we want to try to branch off of there. Once we were in KSC, we just try to stick with most of the Kansas side, of course, because that was a good majority of where our divisional teams were at.
Right.
But now, as we become this MAC, it's going to afford us the opportunity again to try to encompass. Maybe I wouldn't mind trying to play one team out of Oklahoma just to get them on the schedule just for the fun of it, and make it a hodgepodge of the Kansas and the Missouri side. So us being on the border of everything, it works out great for us and hitting both sides. But yeah, we want to definitely try to be more well versed in these other state teams and stuff when it comes to competition next year.
Are you more of a post game meal or a pre game meal kind of guy?
I'm really probably more of a pre, I think. I
Really?
mean, I try to basically just, yeah, I think I would say I'm
Like for
probably a
yourself?
pregame. Yeah, for myself.
Really?
Yeah,
I think you're
absolutely.
maybe the second or third guy. Now, granted, the other guy was from Alabama, but the second or third guy to say that. A lot of guys go post game. Now, pregame, if you have a choice, what are we going with for the pregame meal?
It's going to be something small and lean, really. I mean, I try not to go too heavy,
Yeah.
and it's just something lean that I can be able to. That's going to keep me energized and focused. And really, in all truth and honesty, I keep a bag of energy bars with me, and so even during the games, you might see me on the sidelines munching on something or whatever. I mean, it's just like some people like to walk up and down when they're nervous or do whatever. I'll just probably eat an energy
Or,
bar
or,
whenever
or
I'm
chew
nervous about
gum or
something.
something.
Yeah, chew gum, yeah, but yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, I'm pretty much of a pre. When it comes to post, by the time that we're done, I may come back and have a snack, but I'm usually working on film, and I'll be up until 2, 3 in the morning, usually working on film and trying to get things ready for the film breakfast that following morning, and also working on stats and stuff like that. So my day doesn't necessarily end on Friday as it continues into Saturday. It's just one big giant day, and I may be operating off of 2 or 3 hours of sleep during that time frame, and it's just part
It,
part
it
of the
it's
thing of being a head coach. Sometimes,
it's the season we love, Coach. It's the season we
absolutely,
love.
absolutely.
All right, so when are we going to get you to Gatlinburg? We got to get you to play somebody, or we got to get a little interaction here between you guys in the South a little bit. Got to figure
Yeah,
something out.
definitely, definitely. We want to try to be a part of some of these brawls and stuff you guys do. I wouldn't mind trying to somehow getting in cahoots with that, and that's what I want to do is try to branch out because again, like I said, I'm a southeastern boy,
Yeah,
Alabama Roll Tide,
yeah. Oh,
born
I'm
and
sorry.
bred,
I'm sorry.
and so I know it. But the thing is that the lifestyle that I grew up in with football and how these Midwestern people are totally different worlds,
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
I'm in basketball country up here. And that's like the primary focus of things, but I think now we're starting to make a good switch and an educational mind reset when it comes to football. And that's the reason I want, that I got us involved in the whole Gatlinburg thing because I wanted to kind of play some of these Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama teams and players and have some form of a gauge to see how these homeschool kids, measure up.
Yeah,
And that's the reason like I said, I've lived and breathed football as a kid, and I've spent many of summer camps and stuff at Alabama, going through those when I was a teenager and playing ball, and I wanted these kids to have some sort of form of a format to where they can be able to play against other state teams and kids and kind of branch out from there. So I think what they had there was a good opportunity for us to get plugged in. But yeah, I would love to try to get some game schedule with some other things. I've been trying to reach out to some other teams and coaches out there to see if we can do some kind of collaboration of doing that during either during like a spring practice kind of a thing,
yeah,
or
yeah.
even an early fall, late summer kind of a thing to do stuff like that. So I'm always open to it, man.
There
If
you
anybody
go.
wants to hit me up and let me know if you want to have us to travel down or y'all come up, we'll figure something else out, and get a little scrimmage game going.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, Coach, I appreciate you hopping on with me, and I'm excited to see what you guys do this season. And good luck this year, and we'll be looking for you later on in November.
Absolutely. Thanks, James, and I appreciate you guys, man.
Coach, I appreciate you. We'll see you.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.
We'll see you. It's Coach Tim Bolden from the KC East Lions. Big thank you to Sutton Pools LLC for sponsoring that interview and all the interviews all season long. Got some good football up there in Missouri. A little taste of it there with Coach Bolden. Let's get our next guest queued up here. And again, all these interviews are brought to you by Sutton Pools, LLC. Coach said he eats energy bars during the game. I like it. But joining me now is the head coach at Harvester Christian there in Georgia. They are 2-0 on the season. Coach Trevor Reed, thank you so much for hopping on with me, Coach.
Hey, thanks for giving me the ring.
Want to back up a little bit for those not familiar with Harvester or even yourself as a coach. Want to give everybody maybe a little bit of a history, a little bit of a background on yourself, and then the school a little bit.
All right, I've been this is my 30th year coaching.
Oh, wow.
Little stint in California.
Yeah.
As an assistant at Faith Baptist, which is still going strong. They're a dominant program. They usually in the Final Fours. Then moved out to Georgia. Ended up in Conyers. Coached 3 years out there. Did about 10 years at Kingsway in Douglasville, and
Yep.
went over to Praise in Powder Springs, and then ended up at Harvester. Harvester's been here 6 years. Have a great coaching staff with me, and great athletic department, and kind of spoiled with having good athletes this year.
No doubt. I think it'd be hard to miss that.
Yeah, they make me look good on the bad calls. So
There you go. Well, I want to back up just a little bit, Coach. I know in 2020 is when you took over, correct? At Harvester.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I was checking a couple notes here on Max Prep. So 2020, you guys took over. You were playing 8-man. Then you guys made the move to 11 for a few years, and now this season back with GIAA, playing 8-man. I want to get you to talk a little bit about what went into the decision to make the move back to 8-man after a couple seasons there on the 11-man side.
Well, we really enjoyed the 11-man. The first year we went, we ended up losing the state championship to a team that we beat earlier in the year. And we had good beef coming back. Some things didn't go our way, and struggled for 2 years trying to get kids with size.
Yeah.
Going against those southern schools, they bring the beef.
They got some corn-fed boys down there, Coach.
They eat well in the South. So we're trying to match up with, one young man over 200 pounds, and you're starting an offensive lineman that's 165 pounds. I mean,
oh man,
that's good for flag football, but not for us.
No doubt.
So we ended up talking it through, and even the school board was that they were on board with it, and we made the decision to go back to 8. And we lost a couple kids, but a good core came back, and we have a very, very good unity on this team.
Well, I would say it paid off, Coach. I mean, last season, you had to wait 4 weeks to get your first win. You guys have kicked off the season 2-0. You got the win against Grace. You hosted the Carolina Wildcats from South Carolina, and now you're going into a big matchup with Westminster. I would say that decision's paid off a lot, and of course a lot of change there in Georgia with GAPS and GIAA, a lot of new teams, a lot of shifting. But I would say that decision's paid off for you.
I think so. Our kids they're having fun. They're having fun, and they're working hard. They're still in the weight room. They're pushing the steel and getting after it at practice. And we picked up an addition of a coach who was a former Army officer.
Oh, wow.
Coach Yarnell, and he's just brought a whole nother level of intensity to our practices. And really appreciate all the hard work he's done.
I had an ex-Marine that was our strength and conditioning and then our line coach when I played. When I tell you the intensity level is just insane. It's crazy. It's crazy what they can do, and for your mindset too. I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a great guy. You know, I'm so blessed to have him. And we picked up Everett Massey. He's a former 8-man arena player.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
he's helping us with the receivers. He just showed up and said, "Hey, I'm interested in coaching." He said, "I was coaching at a public school, and just I'm interested in coaching." We had a former Georgia Tech running back, Emery Peoples. He left. He had decided they were moving back to Florida, and he still stays in contact with the guys. So our coaches really love the players, and that's a huge benefit.
You can't ask for more than that, Coach.
No,
Uh,
no, it makes it real easy being the head coach.
no doubt, no doubt. Well, coming from last year and then maybe over the off season workouts and practice, I want to give you an opportunity to give a shout out to some of the guys and recognize some of the guys that have stepped up, or maybe that you're looking forward to seeing what they do this season.
Yeah, I'll start with our quarterback, Jared Brown. He had 280 yards rushing last night, and really we ran it. We ran the speed option. Oh, I'm sorry, Friday night. Um,
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
yeah, we ran the speed option a couple times, and just watching him go and making some right reads on some inside zone, and um, just he makes us look good. Have an offensive lineman, Noah Sylvester, who's just a big horse for us in the middle. A couple wide receivers. Andrew Nicholson, who doesn't look like much, but he does everything. Um, he's just got great speed and awareness for the ball. Um, Defensively, Jermaine McElvey. He had two bats on some deep work, and uh, our nose guard that we just threw there because we thought, okay, he may cause a little chaos.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Jed Yarnell, which is the coach's son, one of the coach's sons, and um, I just have great kids. I mean, I know I can mess it up and make bad calls, but a lot of times they bail me out and make me look great.
No doubt. Well, and there's not. I can only assume there's not a better feeling as a coach than when you pour into a guy all off season, and then you've got summer camp, and you do all this work with them, and then to see the product, which obviously you guys have had that happen the last couple weeks, where guys are doing what they're supposed to do, they're clicking. There can't be a better feeling than pouring into a guy and then seeing him just execute, make those right decisions like you talked about, and just as I could say, go ball out a little bit. There can't be a better feeling than that.
No, there's not. And I would say the biggest benefit is just watching them throughout the day. Seeing how they're stepping up in school and becoming a real man.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, you know, so we have a saying that we put on our shirts: 4 years of commitments, 40 years of memories.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
if we can get good memories in those games for them, and they'll have it the rest of their lives.
You guys are in a division where you've got some really good teams. I mentioned you guys coming up this Friday night. You've got Westminster Schools of Augusta, but you've got other teams that have really had a solid couple of years. Um, you've got some tough competition in your region, um, and then you play some non-region games as well. Um, the non-region, do you guys use those as kind of a measuring stick of where you're at, or is that the region games that you kind of look at and go, okay, this will help tell us where we're at in a season in terms of being competitive, or what we need to work on?
Yeah, I always like playing someone difficult at the beginning because it kind of gauges where we are. Um, we, I have a great relationship with Mark Knight and I've known him about 24 years.
Really?
Yeah, ever since he was at Prince Avenue, um,
Okay, yeah,
Prince Avenue Prep, and we we've just stayed in touch over the years. And I always try to get games. And some years he would go 11, and then when I was in 11, he was doing 8, and we tried to match up and try and get games, and we finally got one because I know he's a great coach, and he pulls those great athletes out of Pickens,
yeah.
and
Yeah, he does.
you kind of don't know what to expect. Um, and I know they're going to come ready to hit, and that's the one thing I wanted to see. And in Douglasville, it was hot last week. It was in the 90s, so
Oh yeah.
we didn't hit all week. So I was kind of a little concerned with the guys and were they going to come bring the hat, and they really impressed me.
Hey, Fullington and Fullington Academy Memorial Day have both. There were teams that you guys played last season. They've also made the move to 8-man, and you guys don't have them on the schedule regular season. But if you guys, and especially the guys who were on the team last year, if you, how big would it be to get a chance to square off against them once again, and maybe get a little revenge for what happened?
I think our guys would love it. I saw they played this past weekend, Memorial Day, beat Fullington. I think it was pretty close, um, but we would love it. We played Fullington regular season. Last year we were probably the thinnest we've been. Um, had five linemen, pretty much going both ways.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were a good first half team, and then just ran out of gas in the second. I think we were down. It was 6-0 at the half against Memorial Day, and ended up getting blown out. Just ran out of gas. So we'd love an opportunity. I would play anybody with this group of guys. Um,
But
they're
it'd be special to get a little revenge there.
yeah, yeah. I think these boys have earned it. They've been through some tough years, and uh, just like seeing them being successful. Starting out 2-0 is a good feeling as opposed to 0-4.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I wanted to ask you. I touched on it earlier, but with you guys making the move from 11 to 8, um, obviously, the first 2 games of the year that you guys have won, they've been at home, so everyone's kind of been able to come out and see it a little bit. Maybe there's people that hadn't seen it before, but how has the school and then the guys, how have they kind of taken to it, and because I know usually creates excitement. I mean, winning just creates excitement, but usually being competitive and being good creates a lot of excitement. So how has the school and then the guys kind of taken to playing a little bit different style of football?
I think it's been great. Friday morning, the cheerleaders were out greeting the parents, and as they dropped the kids off, good energy around the school, a lot of support. We have a great athletic department. Um, we have teachers who just love the kids, and the teachers that take their time and do the gate. I mean, the volunteer list is growing,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
real nice.
that's
Um,
huge. That's huge.
oh yeah, yeah. We have a lady who's just kind of sold out to doing the concessions. Hey, what more can you ask for? Everybody's hungry after the game.
No doubt, no doubt. Now I know you guys have to get through this season, but looking ahead, uh, you're putting your schedule together for next year, trying to, maybe you got a game to figure out or something like that. Is there anybody you look at and say, I want to play these guys?
Well, I'll play anybody.
Fair enough.
Um, in I think it was our second year at Harvest. I think it was 21. We went undefeated played Lighthouse out of Alabama. Had a good game. I think we ended up winning about 56-24, something around there. Um, I've always wanted to play Evangel. I know they're a powerhouse. Um, wouldn't mind going playing Faith Baptist in California.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be an
In a
awesome
national
game.
national game, or even something out of Oklahoma would be a fun one.
Got some good 8-man here in Tennessee, Coach. We got a little bit of Southern South Carolina. Well, you guys played the Wildcats, but got some there in South Carolina. Got a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and it's growing, and there's smaller schools that are taking the chance, pushing the budgets, and giving the kids the opportunity to play the great game of football.
Well, I asked Coach Bolden, who was on just before you, and I ask every coach this. I'm curious, kind of getting a read on how everybody does it. Are you more of a pregame or a postgame meal kind of guy? If you had your way, like for you, which one are you going with?
Ooh. Well, I'll kind of snack before the game and then hit Cold Stones or Del Taco afterwards.
There you go. There you go.
We have a family in the school that owns a restaurant, Gabe's Downtown, and they cater for the guys every week. And so the guys eat well. I'm busy bouncing around. I can't sit still.
I bet.
I won't take one snap, and I think I'm more anxious than they are.
That's how it goes, though. That's how it goes. So if you're gonna go post game meal, what's your go-to? If you have your choice, what's your go-to for post game meal?
Being so late at night, it's either Del Taco or Waffle House.
There you go. Hey, you can't miss with a little awful waffle. There's nothing wrong there.
A little scattered, smothered, and covered, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Coach, I appreciate you hopping on with me, and I'm excited to see what what you guys do this season. Be keeping up with you, and hopefully we see you in November and making a run at it.
Yeah, we got a big test this week. Going up against state champs.
Oh yeah.
They're good. They are good, and Coach Murphy's done a great job there, and we have our hands full.
Hey, that quarterback's pretty good, Coach.
I've seen film, and he can sling it. He can sling it.
There you go. Well, Coach, I appreciate you hopping on, and good luck this upcoming season.
Yeah, thank you very much. Go Hawks.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you.
Bye now.
It's Coach Trevor Reed from Harvester Christian there in Georgia. A big thank you to him for hopping on, and a big thank you to Sutton Pools LLC for sponsoring all the interviews this season. Let's run through the games real quick. Let's look at the games coming up this Friday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all in there. Well, we just talked to Coach Bolden. Let's start up that way. So KC East, they've got Manhattan Eagles both at 1-0 coming into their game. And then Waverly, they'll be taking on Cornerstone Family. Waverly playing their first game of the year. Cornerstone Family looking to bounce back from that loss against KC East. Let's go to Alabama. Well, that was weird. Let's go to Alabama. Let's start at, let's start with the CFA coming up this Friday night. Actually Thursday night. Victory Christian at 2-0. They are on the road in Ashland to take on Clay County Christian. Let's see, Clay County, their mascot is, not 100% sure. The Eagles. So a battle of the Eagles between Victory and Clay County there in the CFA. Clay County in their first year of 8-man. Cornerstone Christian Rainsville, they're on the road to take on Tabernacle. Both teams looking for their first win of the year. Russell Christian, they are hosting, it says varsity opponent. Let's see if there's a clarification on that. No. Actually says TBA, so they might not have a game this upcoming Friday. Let's see. Trinity Christian homeschool the Eagles. They're on the road to take on Jacksonville Christian. Eagles looking for their first win of the year. Jacksonville on a 2-0 run there in the CFA. Let's go to the AISA coming up on Friday night. Full slate of games there. Coosa Valley and North River will face off in Tuscaloosa, both looking for their first win. Meadowview Christian on the road at Cornerstone Christian. Chargers 2-0 on the season. Southern Prep, they're on the road at Springwood. Little East Alabama rivalry game there. Both at 500, both looking to get above 500. Lakeside School has a game scheduled with Edgewood Academy. Lakeside looking for their first win. I think this is an 11-man game, if it's still happening. Edgewood is 1-0, by the way. And then Evangel Christian in Montgomery, 500. They are on the road to take on Macon East Academy. Macon East with their first win of the year. Evangel Christian sitting at 500. Let's go to the ACSC Friday night. Evangel Christian playing their third 11-man game of the season. They're on the road up here in Tennessee to take on Franklin Christian. They played at Franklin Christian last year in 8-man. Franklin FCA's made the move to 11-man, so Evangel Christian going to play them in 11-man. Lighthouse Warriors on the road against Ezekiel. Big rivalry game there in the ACSC. Lighthouse looking to get their first win of the year. And then Ezekiel is at 500 with the win against Evangel Montgomery and the loss to the Freedom Cowboys. Let's go to the SEEC up here in Tennessee. South Haven Christian at 2-1 on the road in Fayetteville to take on Riverside Christian. Freedom Cowboys, big matchup here. Freedom Cowboys taking on Christian Community. Cowboys at 3-1. CCS at 1-2, coming off a bye this last week. Chattanooga Patriots looking for their first win of the year. They're on the road in Columbia to take on Zion Christian Academy, who is coming off their loss against the Tennessee Heat. Speaking of the Heat, at 3-1, they're playing their second 11-man game of the year, taking on DCA Donaldson Christian. They're 2-0 in 11-man, so a big test for the Tennessee Heat. And then another big Central Division matchup, Lancaster Christian at 2-0 on the road in Antioch, right up the road, right up Interstate 24 to take on the Tennessee Tigers, who are coming off that loss to South Haven Christian this past Friday night. Let's go to South Carolina. Let's talk about Skeesa. JDA, Jefferson Davis Academy, they are on the road to take on Conway Christian. JDA at 2-1, Conway 0-2. Oakbrook Prep 0-2 on the road to take on Lawrence Academy, who is at 500. Newberry and Wardlaw Academies. Wardlaw at 2-0. Newberry looking to get their first win. Cross is on the road at Cathedral Academy. Going to be a tall task for them. Cathedral at 3-0. Cross at 0-2. Couple unbeaten so far. Holly Hill and Kings facing off there at Kings, both of them 2-0. Richard Wynn at 2-0 on the road to take on King Academy at 500. Let's go to the SIFA. Thursday night, Carolina Wildcats finally getting to come home, and they will be hosting South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind. Wildcats at 1-2. Hosting that game. Palmetto Christian 0-1 on the road at Coastal Hurricanes. Hurricanes are 2-1. Harvest Christian at Community Christian. Community Christian 0-3. Harvest at 1-2. Pack and Augusta. Big matchup here. They played for the title last year. They might have played for the title the last 2 years. Augusta at 1-2, getting that first win there Friday night. And Pack just dominant, sitting at 4-0, 2-0 in 8-man, 2-0 in 11-man. Be a big, tough task for the Eagles. A good test for them. We'll see if Pack, how they do. The last couple years kind of ran that conference a little bit. Let's go to Heartland Christian Conference on Thursday. Arkansas Christian at 500. They're on the road to take on Abundant Life, who is kicking off their season at home. And then Dewar is at Crossover Prep. Both of those teams looking to start. That's on Thursday. On Friday, Trinity Christian 1-1 on the road at Southwest Christian, who is looking to get that first win of the year at 0-1. Life Christian hosting Graham Dustin, both at 0-1. Waurika at 0-1 at Destiny Christian. And then Claremore Christian and Welch are kicking off their season Friday night. And then on Saturday, Sunrise Christian and Central Christian. Sunrise looking to get their first win of the year. Let's go to North Carolina. Got a game scheduled tomorrow. It's a makeup game. Harrell's Christian and Wayne Christian facing off tomorrow at 6. Harrell's is 0-1. Wayne looking to kick off their season. And then on Friday, Mattamuskie 1-0 is at Pungo Christian, who's at 500. Arundel Parrott, here's a big one. Arundel Parrott 2-1. They're at St. David's Raleigh, who is 2-0. Burien Baptist and Liberty Christian facing off. Wayne Christian and Faith Christian. So Wayne's going to play 2 games this week, if I see this correctly. Father Campadano 0-2. They're at JP2, who is 0-1. Halifax Academy 0-2 on the road at Rocky Mount, who just got their first win of the year. Northeast Academy looking for their first win at 0-3 on the road in Wilson to take on Community Christian. Lawrence Academy 1-1 on the road to take on Cary Christian. And then Howard at 2-1 will host Lee Christian, who is kicking off their season Friday night. Let's go to Louisiana. On Thursday, JPG and First Baptist. They matched up last week, and they're going to play this week as well. This time the game being played at First Baptist Christian. JPG 3-0, maybe 4-0. Yeah, 4-0. Acadiana Christian on the road at Mount Olive Christian. The Eagles are 0-4. The Lions are 2-1. Lions looking to keep it going. And then SWLA, Southwest Louisiana Homeschool, at 500, 1-1 on the road at the North Shore Vultures. And Vultures at 2-2 on the season, 500, have kind of had it going. And so they will match up in the ACEL down in Louisiana. Let's go Mason-Dixon. On Thursday, talked about South Carolina at Carolina Wildcats. And on Saturday, a good slate of games happening. Louisiana School for the Deaf, they're on the road in Iowa to take on Iowa School for the Deaf. Both of those teams kicking off their season. TSD, Tennessee School for the Deaf, the Vikings, they're on the road in Florida to take on Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. And then Alabama School for the Deaf and Oklahoma on the road to take on Oklahoma School for the Deaf. They are 1-0. Let's see, Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. They're in St. Augustine, and they are the Dragons. They beat, let's see, Cornerstone Academy this past Friday. So big slate of games there in the Mason-Dixon Conference. Let's see. Let's go to Virginia. Let's talk about Virginia a little bit. On Thursday, Blessed Sacrament Huguenot on the road at Christ Church School. Christ Church at 1-0. BSH at 0-2, looking to get that first win of the year. Brunswick Academy will look to rebound from that loss against Covenant. They're at 500, taking on Chincoteague at 1-1, 500 as well. On Friday, Massanutten Military Academy and Fishburne Military, they will match off. There's a conference with 4 military schools up that way, and so they'll play on Friday. Southampton Academy 1-0, taking on the Covenant School. Kinston Forest and Rappahannock County, both at 1-1, 500 on the season, looking to get above 500. And then Greenbrier Christian at 2-0 is on the road to take on Fuqua, who is 1-0. And then on Saturday, Broadwater Academy and Randolph-Macon kicking off their season. Broadwater looking to get their first win of the season. Let's go to Florida. Friday, got a whole slew of games. We're going to run through them real quick. Ocala Christian 2-0 on the road to take on Hernando Christian at 1-2. First Coast Christian 1-1 on the road at Donahue Catholic, who has started their season off with a win. Cornerstone Academy coming off that loss to Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. They're on the road to take on Geneva Classical. Cornerstone Academy 2-1, Geneva 3-0. Foundation Christian 2-0 taking on Canterbury at Canterbury. Foundation 2-0, Canterbury 1-0. Shorecrest Prep, a powerhouse in Florida, 2-0 to start off the season. They're on the road at Calvary Chapel. Shorecrest Prep will actually be taking on Westminster Schools of Augusta later on this season. We talked about how Westminster is going to match up with Harvester this Friday. A big cross-state matchup, South Carolina and Florida, or Florida and Georgia, coming up later on this year. Countryside Christian at Oasis Christian. Oasis looking to get their first win of the year. Countryside at 500. Babcock 0-3 at Lakeside Christian, also at 0-3. Both teams looking to get their first wins of the year. Eastland Christian at 1-1 on the road to take on Merritt Island. 3-0 is what Merritt Island's at right now, so they're looking to keep it going. Liberty Christian Prep 0-3 at Four Corners, who is 1-1. Real Life Christian 1-1 on the road to take on City of Life Christian, who are looking for their first win of the year at 0-2. Sports Leadership and Management Academy got their first win of the year, kicked off their season with a win. They're 1-0. They are at Academy of the Lakes, who's looking to get their first win of the year. And then a couple 2-1 teams, Masters Academy and Lake Mary Prep, facing off Friday there in Florida, both 2-1. And then we talked about Tennessee School for the Deaf and Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. They are facing off on Saturday, Vikings and Dragons. Let's go to Mississippi. Let's talk about a little Mississippi 8-man. On Friday, Unity Christian on the road to take on Faith Christian Homeschool. Pine Belt, Unity 0-1, Faith 1-1. Pine Belt 0-1. They're at Christian Collegiate, who's also 0-1 coming out of the MAIS. And then the New Orleans Homeschool Saints 0-1. They're on the road at Heritage Christian, who is at 500. On Saturday, Magnolia Wildcats. It's got them listed with a varsity opponent. Not sure who that is. Let's see. Let's go to MAIS. Let's talk about 1A first. Delta Academy at 2-0. Marvell at 0-2. Delta looking to keep it going, keep their season going and stay unbeaten. Tunica Academy kicking off their season at Calhoun Academy. Hillcrest Christian at Tensas. Both of those teams looking for their first win of the year. Hillcrest at 0-2. Tensas at 0-3. Another matchup of 2-1 teams. Discovery Christian, Wilkinson County Christian. This one's at Discovery, so big matchup there between the Rams and Discovery. Let's see who. Trying to find their mascot. I'll have to find their mascot. Union Christian at Prairie View Academy. Prairie View at 3-0. Couple unbeatens. Claiborne Academy and River Oaks, both 2-0, facing off Friday night. Hebron Christian and Kemper Academy. Couple 500 teams fighting it out in Mississippi at Kemper Academy. DeSoto 1-0. Lee Academy 0-1. Definitely want to keep the league wants to get to 500. DeSoto wants to stay unbeaten. Porter's Chapel Academy at Riverdale. Porter's Chapel coming off of starting their season with a loss. Riverdale at 500. Franklin Academy 0-2 at Bensford Christian, who's 2-0, so a little bit of a flip-flop record there. And then Briarfield Academy at Tallulah Academy. Tallulah with that win to kick off their season. Briarfield at 2-1. Let's go to MAIS 2A. Run through these real quick. See if there's any that I missed. Park Place Christian 1-1 at Prentice Christian 0-1. Deer Creek Academy 0-1 at North Sunflower Academy, also at 0-1. So both of them looking for their first win. Humphreys Academy 1-0 at Newton County Academy, who's kind of really taken off. Newton County at 2-1. Porter's Chapel at 0-1. They're on the road against Riverdale. I talked about that one. And then Franklin Academy at Bensford Christian. Let's see. Who else am I missing? I actually think that's it. I think that just about does it. Well, I want to give a big thank you to Coach Tim Bolden from the KC East Lions. Thank you to Coach Trevor Reed from Harvester Christian down in Douglasville, Georgia, for hopping on the show. Want to give a big thank you to Sutton Pools LLC for sponsoring all the interviews this season with coaches and people around the game of 8-man football. Big thank you to Fairlife Core Power Protein for helping us recognize athletes every single week. And, of course, we'll have the announcement of the Player of the Week on Wednesday, Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week. And a big thank you to Complete Real Estate for sponsoring Extreme Talk. Complete Real Estate, where experience and integrity matters. Thank you so much for tuning into Extreme Talk. Go catch some football this Friday night, Thursday night, Saturday night, whichever fits your fancy. Thank you for tuning in. See ya!